I've been training for my first Ironman 70.3 for about 4 months now, and I'm about halfway through my training, so my 70.3 is about 4 months away. This is how much money I've spent so far. Firstly, I'll caveat by saying I'm new to all this. I've never trained for a 70.3, never ran a marathon, never properly ridden a road bike or even properly learned to swim until about 4 months ago. So I'm having to buy a lot of things that some of you will already have, like, for example, this Apple Watch that I bought about 5 months ago, a bike back there, and even swimming trunks. Secondly, I have a decent sized budget, but if you're thinking of doing a 70.3, you don't need to spend as much as I have. You can train for literally a fraction of what I've spent. Some of the things I've gone kind of super budget with, like my swimming shorts again that I ordered from AliExpress for literally about $3 or $4, and I'm glad I did. And then there's other things like my MAP bib shorts that I paid, I think, about $270 for, and I'm glad I did. So I'll go through all my running purchases first, which were relatively affordable, then my swimming purchases, and then my cycling. You can see my bike back there, which were quite expensive. And I'll go over the Misc items like the 70.3 ticket itself, travel, hotel, and at the end of the video, I'll give you my total spend so far. My first kind of big purchase and what kind of triggered this whole Ironman journey was my Apple Watch. So I bought my first ever smartwatch. This is the Apple Watch Series 9, and I was honestly very reluctant to buy it because I don't like wearing extra accessories like watches or sunglasses or baseball caps or jewelry, and I particularly don't like being connected to my phone 24/7, but that was actually a relatively easy fix once I bought the watch. I literally just turned off about 95% of notifications and that was job done. But I did not realize how much of a lifestyle purchase this was, meaning having an Apple Watch genuinely makes me exercise more. I like all the data I get from my workouts, and because it's cellular model, I can leave my phone at home while I go for a swim or go for a run or even go to the gym, because I noticed that when I am strength training at the gym, during the 1 or 2 minutes in between sets, I was getting distracted on my phone and I would end up scrolling on social media for like 5 minutes. But when I leave my phone at home and I just bring my watch, I can actually focus on my workout. I think I paid around $400 for it, but then I bought the Apple Solo Loop, which is this here, and it was expensive. It was $99 for a bit of silicone, but worth every penny. It's so comfortable. I wear my watch pretty much 24/7, even when I'm sleeping. I just forget it's there, something that I couldn't normally do with a traditional watch. Next were my ASICS Nimbus 25s. They're sold out on the official ASICS website right now because they're an older model. The 26 have come out, and actually this year the 27s have now come out, so this is a 2-year-old model. But if you do want to save a bit of money on running shoes, buying last year's model at a discount is often a good way to go. My process for buying these was very simple. I literally just searched on YouTube, what are the best running shoes for beginners? And these ASICS were brought up time and time again. I went to the store to try them on. They fit like a glove. I bought them. No complaints at all, super comfortable. They were $160. I'll eventually get a second pair of running shoes. I do like the idea of cycling through 2 pairs of running shoes so my leg muscles don't get too used to just one and develop weaknesses, because I am getting a tiny bit of knee pain. Nothing to do with the shoes, more to do with my very weak leg muscles, but I'll talk about that a bit later on. So I started running. I mostly run on the street at night time when the sun goes down and it's a bit cooler, but most of my wardrobe, including my sports clothing, is pretty much all dark colors like blacks and grays. Not exactly the safest clothes to be wearing when running on the road at nighttime. So I bought this bright red t-shirt, very comfortable, wicks away the sweat, just what I wanted. It was $12. And as I said earlier, I don't like wearing extra stuff if they don't have a purpose. But when running, particularly early mornings or evenings when the sun is low, I did notice I was squinting a bit. It was slightly uncomfortable. So I bought this cap. So I bought this cap for running. It works. I use it for pretty much every daytime run. There's a Lululemon branding on it somewhere. I suspect it's probably fake since I paid about $5 for it. I don't remember where from, but it's probably not really Lululemon. I also bought these Oakley Sphaera sunglasses. I fell in love with them. I've never properly worn sunglasses, never really owned a pair until these. I love how this particular pair, because they have Oakley's prism lenses, they make the greens of the trees and the grass really pop. It just kind of makes life that bit more interesting, a higher contrast. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you have a pair of Oakleys with prism lenses, you'll know exactly what I mean. These sell for an extortionate amount of money, I think about $240, but I got them on offer for about $150. Similar to the cap, except for these are real. In the daytime, I'm always wearing these. And similarly, I'll always wear them if I'm cycling as well. They protect my eyes from the sun, of course, but they also protect my eyes from the wind constantly blowing in my eyes and from kind of random bugs or stones that are kicked up from the road. I am officially a sunglasses convert. So my total to get into running was $327, but then when I add the Apple Watch, which adds a lot to it, and the band as well, which was $99, that's a total of $826. Again, disclaimer, you don't have to pay that. Literally buy a pair of running shoes for $60 and you're good to go. Now on to swimming. So I used to wear, when swimming, these very baggy swimming shorts, but wearing these when swimming is kind of like dragging a parachute behind you when you swim. So I bought some of these far more streamlined trunks, and these are still soaking wet because I went for a swim about 2 hours ago. But I've been using them for about 4 months now, no complaints. They cost me about $7, but there's some kind of welcome deal promotion on AliExpress where I bought them. So you can literally grab them for $1, free delivery, apparently. I paid about $7 for them, but I'll drop a link in the description below to these, and everything that I bought on AliExpress in this video will be in the description. So after getting some new swimming shorts, I bought some goggles. Obviously, I wanted a pair of goggles, number one, that fit my face and don't actually leak, but also a pair that have a relatively wide field of view. So I ended up with the Speedo Biofuse 2.0 Polaroid goggles, and I got these on offer. I think usually they're about $40, but I got them for $25, and I tried them on. They don't leak at all. I swam a 5K ocean man in these and never leaked one bit. However, one problem with these is maybe obvious, they're tinted, and I swim a lot at nighttime. It's now 9 p.m. and I just went for a swim about 7 p.m. Obviously it was dark. And with these, in the dark, it's not very easy to see. So I bought another pair, exactly the same goggles, except these are not tinted. These are a bit cheaper, about $20, but now I have my nighttime goggles and my daytime goggles. So when I was traveling with my goggles, I realized that I was throwing them in my bag or into my suitcase and the lenses would scratch. So I bought 2 of these rubber cases. They were, I think, $5 each, so $10 in total, including shipping, and so worth it. I chose these because they have perforations, so even if I throw some really wet goggles in there, they do still dry out, as opposed to a fully enclosed case with no holes, and then the goggles would just stay wet. So for $5 each, one of the best purchases in this video because they're strangely very well made. Again, I'll drop the AliExpress links in the description below to buy these. One of the biggest ROIs I've had on my swimming purchases is for my swimming coach. So I didn't buy my swimming coach, I don't think that's legal now, but I do hire him per hour. So I tried to learn through YouTube and I did make some small improvements, but as soon as I hired a coach, I went from only being able to swim 2 laps to being able to swim 100 laps non-stop in just 30 days. So I spent about $500 so far, but what I would advise is if you're training for an Ironman and you kind of have a significant weak area, for example, let's say your swimming is at a significantly lower level than your cycling running, which was the case with me. So even though I spent $500, worth every single dollar. So my total spend for getting into swimming was $82, but then you add the swimming coach onto that, which is of course optional, but that totals to $582 for swimming. Now this is where most of my money went. Getting into running is relatively affordable. Getting into swimming is arguably even more affordable, but cycling, not so much. At least if you want to buy new equipment that will last you a long time. Now, I'm not going to go through all the things that I bought to get into cycling because I made another video titled I bought my first road bike and 32 bike accessories, where I go through every single thing I bought for cycling, i.e. 32 things. You can click on the pop-up banner above right here to watch that video. I'll also drop a link in the description to it. But the two main things I bought, the bike itself, which is behind me, the Trek Domane SL5 2024, that cost me $3,700. And then I made quite a few upgrades with things like the carbon wheels, which were not cheap, a Garmin computer right here, a bike pump, water bottles, so many different upgrades and accessories, and they all cost me $1,540. And then there's the cycling clothing like the helmet, bike jersey, bib shorts, shoes. They cost me $998 in total. So to get into cycling and buy the clothing, the accessories, and the bike upgrades, it cost me $2,538. And then there's the bike itself, so the total $6,238 just to get into cycling. Now onto the Misc items like the 70.3 ticket itself. I'll be doing the 70.3 in Da Nang, Vietnam. That was $374. I bought my ticket quite early. They've now increased in price to $407, and of course with Ironman, the earlier you buy the ticket, the cheaper it is. In terms of traveling and hotel, I'm currently based in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, so flights there will cost about $80 return. And I booked a hotel already. That was $224 for the hotel. So I also hired a personal trainer for strength training at the gym, partly because I was getting some kind of minor knee pain when running. I visited a physio and they said my leg muscles just basically weren't strong enough to be running such long distances, which makes sense. I see my personal trainer about twice a week for 2 months. That's costing me $707. Not, of course, an absolute necessity, but I do really value that kind of one-on-one personalized advice. YouTube is great for things like learning how to lift with correct form, but if I'm doing deadlifts and my form is wrong, a PT will tell me. A YouTube video won't. It's also worth it, for me at least, for my kind of the accountability side, because I don't exactly like leg day, but my PT makes sure I don't skip them. Particularly important when I need to kind of build the strength up in my legs to avoid running injuries. So that means my total spend from having almost no training equipment to buying everything that I need, and I'm only 4 months in, so probably over the next 4 months, I'll spend at least another $1,000, meaning the total will be $10,031. But like I said, I did spend on a lot of things that weren't, of course, 100% necessary, like quite an expensive bike, personal trainers, gadgets like an Apple Watch. Of course, I didn't need to buy these things. And because this is my first Ironman, I've now bought all the gear, so future events will cost a lot less. And if you want to follow me on my 70.3 training journey and documenting the whole thing, you can check out every video back to back by clicking on this video playlist right here. Alternatively, I go through all my cycling accessories and this bike in this video right there.